The Island, Part 2, Release and Integration. Welcome back, my lovely readers. If you haven't already, make sure you read Part 1 of The Island so you can have a better understanding of this piece. And if you haven't, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to this newsletter. In the first part of this article, I left you at the point in my healing journey where my body began to somatically release deeply embedded wounding that had been stored in my body's memory in relationship to the fragmented part of my consciousness that had been surviving alone on a deserted island. The island was my mind's archetypal environment, created from an identity that crystallized when I was around the age of 9. An identity comprised of a belief system of low self-worth, aloneness, survival fear, and a reward system constructed around independence. Because some of these identities had already formed before my island solidified, those beliefs were still embedded within that part of my consciousness. This explains why, even though I had done years of therapy, embodiment work, energy work, affirmations, and all the other healing practices you could think of, a deeper part of myself was still running the show in certain aspects of my life, particularly when it came to my core beliefs around worthiness. This is why it had been so difficult for me to create real change at a core level in the areas of self-worth. Mind you, I have healed grief, PTSD, bipolar 2 symptoms, but relationship and abundance have continued to haunt me. So I simply did not have this part of my consciousness within my awareness. Now, because of my background in embodiment work, however, I instinctively understood how to begin supporting and integrating this part of myself. So when I felt Island Callie's exhaustion as she sat beside the tent and the fire, I welcomed the heaviness, the tears, and the shaking happening in my body. I knew this was my body's way of releasing decades of memory it had stored. Memories that had been frozen in fear, anxiety, and loneliness. Eventually, it subsided only after a few minutes. I came out of the meditative state and allowed myself to feel the exhaustion and sadness that had processed. I decided to nurture myself with rest and continued listening to the frequencies in bed so I could create safety in real time. Sometime later, I woke up and wrote in my journal about what I had just experienced. Anything and everything that needed to come out, I wrote down. No judgment, no thinking, just writing. As I began to write about the experience, it was as if that part of me began writing as well. Some of the notes from my experience were the following. I grew up on this island all alone, marooned before I knew how to survive on my own. Am I not worthy of help? Frozen in time, looking to the horizon, waiting. My island isn't very sunny. There is nothing behind me, so I pace side to side. I stand and wait as I look out. I don't know how to survive on my own. Will no one help me? The only time I'm rewarded is when I perform on my island. The island is my stage of loneliness. My performance reward is more independence. I don't receive more resources, just more performance. Who am I if I'm not doing? My island is cut off from love, from abundance, only a picture of the horizon. Can no one see me for who I am? Receiving is because of luck. I've never earned the right to receive. Am I worthy of surviving? End of the notes. So, after taking the time to write what needed to be processed, I decided to return to that space to check on Island Callie. So, I went back into meditation. I found her a little more rested. I suggested that maybe we should build a dock so people could come to the island. I told her she could have more than just a tent, too. If she wanted, we could make the island a paradise, build a beautiful place to live, and even in a hotel where people could come visit. I didn't write this, but I told her that, we could make the island look like Maya Bay, whatever she wanted, like her own paradise. She had no idea she could have any of these things or that she was worthy of them. So I embraced her and told her she was worthy simply because she exists, that she wasn't alone anymore, and that I would help her. And y'all, that's when it came. Like two hands wringing, like two hands around my heart, wringing out a rag. The years of pain from loneliness, feeling unseen, and feeling unworthy. I don't think I have cried that hard since my partner passed away 10 years ago. I let everything go. Everything that was coming up vocally, I expressed. I want to survive. I'm ready to be seen. I don't want to be alone. I'm so tired. Whatever needed to be expressed and felt in that moment, I let it be heard through the sobbing. I met that little girl who had needed to be held all these years, and I held her. It has been almost 9 days since I rescued her. For the first 3 to 4 days, I returned to that space each day to visit. Each time, I helped her continue creating a lush, thriving environment. I encouraged her creativity and beauty. Like, I told her that she should get her hair done and find some beautiful clothes to wear because she looked really raggedy. And I even taught her things she didn't understand before, like the idea that money is energy and that she can do anything she wanted to generate it. Every time I revisit, she's doing better and better and is excited to see me. Yesterday, when I visited, I hadn't slept well the night before. She told me she was tired and bored and didn't understand why. And that's when I realized we were finally integrating, because I explained to her that we didn't sleep well the night before. And I told her that she could take a private jet and go anywhere in the world she wanted, that she didn't have to stay on the island all the time, even though it had become a beautiful paradise. What's important to note is that it wasn't just her environment that shifted. The shift in me is the transformation. The opportunities that have come into my awareness over the past several days are all coming from a place of support. I feel supported, and my decision making is now coming from a place of wholeness. Whether it's in relationship, business, or even where I choose to just stay over the next several days, my decisions feel very different from my previous patterns. This is because I have fundamentally shifted my identity at my core. From unsupported, unseen, and hyper independent to supported, seen, and knowing when to ask for help. From overgiving and being unable to receive to holding boundaries with ease and receiving even the smallest blessings that I might not have been available for before. I even had a friend recently that called me a free magnet the other day. Like, no joke, y'all. Like, I've been getting all this free stuff like the past week or two. So, throughout this process, I have continued returning to my heart coherence practice to expand my energetic field and deepen my self love through oneness, compassion, gratitude, and love. I'd already been practicing this before the island experience, but it now feels amplified. It also felt like a little bit of divine timing that only 2 days after this deep release and integration, I attended a manifestation soiree. The experience only amplified my energy, my magnetism, and my overall certainty. What I experienced on the island wasn't just a powerful meditation. It was a moment where a fragmented part of my identity finally came into my awareness and was given the safety, compassion, and guidance it needed to return home. For years, I tried to change my beliefs, my habits, and even my energetic state. But until I understood the part of me that had crystallized around the identity of aloneness, the deeper pattern remained. Meeting her changed everything. The island showed me something profound. Sometimes transformation doesn't come from forcing ourselves to become someone new. Sometimes it comes from returning to the parts of ourselves that were left behind and bringing them back into wholeness. The work of integration is not about rejecting the identities we formed in survival. It is about meeting them with compassion, understanding the beliefs they carry, and helping them evolve into something new. My hope in sharing this story is that it might help someone else begin exploring the landscapes within their own consciousness and, maybe reconnect with the parts of themselves that have been waiting to be seen. For most of my life, I believed I had to be left alone on that island. And what I didn't realize is that one day I would be the one who came back for her. Thank you all so much for listening to this audio essay or reading it if you did. If you enjoyed this piece, consider subscribing to support my work and receive future essays exploring consciousness, healing, and the journey of remembering who we truly are. If you're interested in exploring this work more deeply in your own life, I also offer private sessions where I guide people through embodiment and integration practices. You can view my service guide that is posted in this article. Thank you for reading and supporting this space. Thank you for listening and supporting this space. I'll catch you all on the next one.